I just grabbed one because
I'm calling to order the Panama City Commission meeting for October 14th, 8 a.m. Opening prayer by Dr. Williams, pastor of St. John's Missionary Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Granger. Please rise.
Let's pray together. O God, our God, how excellent is your name in all the earth, from the rising of the sun to the setting of the same. Your name is worthy to be praised. We come and we laud and we magnify your holy and your righteous name. And in the midst of our reverence unto you, we ask that you would consecrate us now to your service, Lord. By the power of grace divine, let our souls look up with a steadfast hope, and let our wills be lost in thine. Get the glory out of everything that we do and everything that we say today, so that you might be able to show yourself mighty and show yourself real and show yourself true. We pray your choicest and your richest blessings upon this, our commission, and the business that they will carry out. And we pray, our God, that the words of our mouths and meditations of our hearts would be acceptable within your sight. O Lord, you are our strength and you are our Redeemer. In the name of he who died that we all might be saved, even Jesus Christ, we invoke your presence in this place. Amen.
Amen.
If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Mayor Branch.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Lucas.
Present.
Commissioner Granger.
Present.
Commissioner Street.
Here.
Mayor, you have quorum.
Awesome. You've received the meeting minutes from September 23rd. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas.
Yes.
Commissioner Granger.
Yes.
Commissioner Street.
Yes.
Mayor Branch.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Any additions, deletions, or modifications?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we got a couple from staff, so just a kind of a modification, and I will read them correctly, but items 7C as in Charlie, 7D as in Delta, 7E as in Echo, and 7F as in Frank should be first readings. They are not second readings. So again, just a heads up, and I will read those correctly once we get to that section under quasi-judicial. And then an addition would be right before community announcements as part of Section 5. Commissioner Hughes would like to make a presentation to someone in the community.
Do I have a motion to accept?
A motion to accept.
Second. Do you want to discuss? Just call.
No.
Okay. Just please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas.
Yes.
Commissioner Granger.
Yes.
Commissioner Street.
Yes.
Mayor Branch.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And I'd like to remove 10A.
Moving
Is that a motion?
10A.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas.
Yes.
Commissioner Granger.
Yes.
Commissioner Street.
Yes.
Mayor Branch.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we are in community announcements.
All right, Mr. Hughes, all yours, sir. Are they not here yet?
They're not here yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Okay, I can go ahead and do the announcements then real quick, sir. All right, join us for our 5th tree giveaway this Saturday, October 18th at HD Mathis Park, beginning at 8 a.m. To receive the free trees, recipients must be Bay County residents, be present at the event, and fill out a registration form in advance on our website or at the giveaway. Trees are available on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last, so be sure to arrive early to secure your choice. The Charter Review Advisory Board will meet Thursday, October 23rd at 12 noon in room 236 of City Hall. Citizens may join in via Zoom or watch a recording of the meeting later on the city's YouTube channel. Citizens can also email suggested changes for review and consideration by the advisory board to charterreview@panamacity.gov. More information can be found on the calendar section of our website at panamacity.gov. The Panama City CRA and local churches are hosting a community restoration event at the historic Millville Cemetery on Saturday, October 25th at 8 a.m. Volunteers are invited to help repaint the perimeter fence to clear overgrowth as part of Phase 1 of the project. All supplies, snacks, and refreshments will be provided. The CRA and the Incremental Development Alliance are bringing a full-day in-person, small-scale development workshop to the Glenwood Community Center on Friday, November 14th. In this workshop, citizens will get the big picture view of a small-scale real estate development, learn how to pick a good development project, and discover where help is needed and who to seek assistance from. Early bird registration has been extended through to October 24th, and scholarship applications will be accepted through October 10th. For more information or to register for this workshop, please visit our website at panamacity.gov. Join us on Saturday, December 6th for our annual Downtown Christmas Parade, featuring an unforgettable night of twinkling lights, festive floats, and all the magic of the season as we bring the joy of Christmas morning to life, inspired by your favorite memories and toys. The parade will start at 6 p.m. on Harrison Avenue from the downtown marina to Bay High School. Register your float for $75, a vehicle for $75, or a walking group for $25. You can do so on our website today, and there are exemptions for nonprofits with proper documentation. All right. Mr. Mayor, would you like to just carry on, and maybe when they arrive, we can pause at that point?
Sounds
All right. Item 6A is the second and final of two public hearings on Ordinance 3284, an ordinance amending Chapter 103 of the Unified Land Development Code, amending planning board appointments. Relevant background information is enclosed in your packet, and this is the second and final hearing. Staff recommendation through the Director of Development Services and the City Manager's Office that the City Commission conduct the second and final public hearing and approve the ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
This is a public hearing. If you wish to speak on this item, please come forward to the podium.
See my text?
Seeing none, closing public comments. Do I have a motion?
A motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
I'd like to read the title, and it's Ordinance 3264, 3284, an ordinance amending Ordinance 2675, which adopted the Municipal Land Development Code, revising Chapter 103 Review Authority, amending how planning board members are appointed, amending terms of planning board members, providing that this ordinance shall be codified, providing that all ordinances in conflict be repealed, providing for initial appointment to the planning board to occur, and providing for an immediately effective date.
Item 6B is the first reading to consider and approve Ordinance 3274, adopting the proposed water and wastewater connection impact fees of $1,350 for per equivalent residential connection, or ERC, for water, and $1,610 for wastewater. As background information, the City of Panama City continues to face increasing capital investment requirements necessary to expand water and wastewater system facilities to serve new growth. Impact or connection fees are collected from new development to recover the city's investment in existing and future capacity that is available to serve this growth. The City Utilities Division has not updated their impact connection fees since 2003, and therefore an updated connection fee increase is proposed to manage the increase in demand on the current monthly utility user rates. The current fees were adopted by the City Commission on September 23rd of 2003 pursuant to Ordinance Number 1914. During fiscal year 2025, the city hired Raftellus Financial Consultants to complete the water and wastewater impact fee study for the city's water and wastewater utility system. The report recommended the updated connection fees based on the cost of capital expenditures for both existing and new infrastructure to provide capacity to serve new development. The report proposed proposes a water connection fee of $1,350 per ERC, which represents an increase of $885 compared to the existing $465 per ERC, and a wastewater connection fee of $1,610 per ERC, which represents an increase of $360 compared to the existing $1,250 per ERC. The proposed water and wastewater connection or impact fees help offset the growth to the system that otherwise would have to be funded by monthly user fees. And I'll just add, Mayor, Commissioners, a couple of you did ask for some real-life examples. And so let's take, for example, a two-bedroom, two-bath, 2 sinks, toilet, shower. Under the old rate, it would be $4,220. New rate, $5,465. So it's an increase of about $1,200 for new development. And if you had an existing home and let's say you wanted to add an extra bathroom, you're looking around $350 or so to do that. Additionally, I did kind of just ask the question, just for a little bit of background on just the ERC, or the equivalent residential connection determination. And as you all know, but just for the benefit of the public, local governments are required to establish a level of service for their public utilities. The level of service commonly used in the industry is the capacity, measured in gallons, required to serve one equivalent residential connection, or ERC. One ERC represents the average water or wastewater capacity necessary to service a typical single-family home. Based on the city's adopted standards, a development designated as one ERC reserves 345 gallons of water and 230 gallons of wastewater treatment capacity per day. The city calculates the ERC value for each new development by assessing the type and quantity of installed water and wastewater fixtures in the home and the resulting demand that these fixtures will place on the city's utility system. Examples of fixtures, again, include shower, sinks, toilet, washing machines, dishwashers, etc. The sum of the demand for all installed fixtures is divided by the city's standard factor, which is based upon the level of service standard. For water, that total demand is divided by 60 to determine the water ERC, and to determine the wastewater ERC, the sum is divided by 36. All new developments with residential, commercial, or irrigation systems are assigned an ERC factor no less than 1. Staff recommendation through the Public Works Director and the City Manager's Office is the City Commission conduct the first public hearing of Ordinance 3274. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, this is a public hearing. If you wish to speak on item 6B, please come to the podium. Good morning.
Good morning. Walter Piano, 614 Maple Avenue. I just finished reading that. What about the customers that y'all put on? It's not in the city limits, but they still have water and sewer. You tell me they go pay we go pay the same price? They go pay the same price as we pay? The outside of the city? I know y'all had thought about it. Probably didn't want to think about it. I just wondered if they go pay the same price that the citizen of Panama City got to pay.
Thank you. Anyone else on item 6B? Seeing none, closing public comments. Mr. Zimmerman.
I'd like to read the first reading. Ordinance 3274. An ordinance amending Ordinance 1914 and Ordinance 2617, revising Chapter 23 Utilities of the Municipal Code, amending Division 2 Rates and Charges of Article 2 Water, amending Division 3 Rates and Charges of Article 3 Sewers and Sewage Disposal, providing for increased connection fees for water and wastewater, providing that this ordinance shall be codified, providing that all ordinances in conflict be repealed, and providing for an immediately effective date.
Item 6C is the first reading of Ordinance 3290, amendment to Ordinance 2603 regarding Knox box requirements. Background information, the Panama City Fire Department has requested an update to ordinance number 2603 to streamline the administrative process for businesses opting out of the Knox Box program. Ordinance 3290, if adopted, would authorize the city manager to review and approve or deny any waiver and hold harmless agreements submitted by commercial businesses seeking exemption from the Knox Box requirement. This change aims to provide greater efficiency in handling waiver requests while maintaining appropriate safety and legal safeguards. Staff recommendation through the fire chief is that the city commission conduct the first public hearing on ordinance 3290.
This is a public hearing. If you wish to speak about item 6C, please come to the podium. Seeing none, closing public comments.
First reading, ordinance number 3290, an ordinance of the City of Panama City, Florida, amending ordinance 2603, amending Chapter 6, Building and Fire Safety Standards, Article 3, Fire Safety, Section 6-64, to allow the city manager to approve a waiver and hold harmless agreement executed by businesses that are required to install Knox boxes but choose not to, providing for codification and providing an immediately effective date.
Are they here yet, Commissioner Hughes, or do you want to keep going, sir?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, moving into quasi-judicial hearings, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. During quasi-judicial proceedings, the commission will hear evidence and render a decision regarding the matter presented based upon the evidence received. The parties before the commission and the public are entitled to present evidence, documents, witnesses, etc., and cross-examine any witnesses. All parties and witnesses will be under oath and the entire proceedings recorded. The commission is not bound by the strict rules of evidence and may consider any evidence which it deems relevant and trustworthy. Any member of the commission may ask questions of the parties or the witnesses. Since quasi-judicial proceedings are legal in nature, everyone is expected to adhere to proper courtroom decorum and etiquette. Any comments or objections should be directed to the mayor. The burden of proof in a quasi-judicial proceeding rests with the applicant. Therefore, the applicant has the opportunity to address the commission last, after all public participation, and before the commission deliberates. Mr. Zimmerman?
At this time, on items 7A through 7F, I will swear in city staff who will remain under oath during the entire proceedings. Also, if there are any other additional parties who you think will speak, you may think would be speaking on this matter. If you would also identify yourself and stand, and I'll swear you in. If for some reason you would like to speak later and you haven't been sworn in, that's fine. You would come on up and speak, and I'd swear you in at that time. So would you please stand and raise your right hand? Okay, do you swear and affirm that the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. I'll ask the commission at the appropriate time when an item is discussed if you would disclose any ex parte communication. This is communication that you've received outside of the public hearing and upon which you will rely on and intend to rely on to make your decision. You don't have to disclose the nature of the conversation, but just the fact that it occurred outside of this meeting. So thank you very much, City Manager.
Yes.
I believe the gentleman's here, so if we want to pause before 7A, if that's okay, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
All right.
Oh, we're not meant to. Keep going.
Oh, wait, no more? Okay, sorry. We'll proceed. Apologies. Oh, there we go. Perfect timing. Donald, please go back to the regular logo, sir.
You what?
Oh,
Not, that's okay. Got more of that? Keep going. No way. So over the weekend, y'all might not have seen, but you might have seen that little fire broke out downtown and at Ferrucci's, and so the man here ran to put the fire out at 2:30 in the morning. So, Mom, it's okay that he's out late. He's doing good. But I thought I wanted to thank you publicly and recognize your your community service, your bravery, and thanks for keeping my table open on Tuesday night at 6:30. So on behalf of the city of Panama City, we extend our deepest gratitude and commendation to Kelso for his courageous, selfless actions during the early morning hours of Sunday, October the 12th, when fire broke out in the back porch of Ferrucci's restaurant. Upon witnessing the flames, Mr. Sowers, an employee of Mosey's, acted without hesitation. He ran across the street with a fire extinguisher and in hand and immediately began suppressing the fire. His quick thinking and bravery helped contain the flames until the Panama City Fire Department arrived and fully extinguished the blaze. Thanks to his decisive response, Kelso played a critical role in preventing the fire from spreading further into the restaurant and possibly endangering other nearby businesses. His actions exemplify the spirit of civic responsibility and community care that we strive to foster in Panama City. As a token of our appreciation, the city is proud to officially recognize Mr. Sowers' heroism and present him with a commemorative city coin, which actually has sand from on Beach Drive, honoring your courage in a moment of crisis. Thank you. You made a difference, and we appreciate Panama City.
Thank you.
And that note, I just wanted to thank them for getting out there, making sure that we're all fed, and wanting to take care of him as well.
Absolutely. We need more people in our community like him.
All right. Thank you very much. And that's for you, sir.
Thank you.
Squeeze in.
And, come here, Chief. And these guys right here, they come to the rescue all the time. Even if it is 2:30 in the morning, they're going to get up for you, and we appreciate you as well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, item 7A is the second and final public hearing on ordinance 3276, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city to reflect a zoning designation of neighborhood general or NG for a property located at 1410 Wilmont Avenue with parcel ID 29666-000-000. As this is the second and final public hearing, relevant background information is enclosed in your packet. Staff recommendation through the Director of Development Services is that the City Commission conduct the second and final public hearing and approve the ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, if you'd like to speak on item 7A, please come to the podium. Yes, sir. Good morning.
Tony Madrano, 1026 Pearson Drive. Last time we spoke, you asked me if I could split the lot. We did already, and all I'm asking is hopefully you can help me out so I can use the big church building as a multiplex. But the house has already been divided, and that's going to be something separate. So I appreciate the input, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys responding and working with the neighbors.
Anyone else on item 7A? Seeing none, closing public comments. I'll entertain a motion.
A motion to approve? Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas? Yes. Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Commission has adopted ordinance 3276, an ordinance zoning a parcel of property located at 1410 Wilmont Avenue, Panama City, Florida, having approximately .210 acres, neighborhood general, providing for severability and effective date.
Item 7B is the second and final of two public hearings on ordinance 3281, an ordinance to vacate and abandon the alleyway right-of-way easement located on High Avenue south of West 21st Street. Relevant background information is enclosed in your packet as this is the second and final public hearing. Just want to add that staff did connect with the resident that had some concerns about access to her house there at 2101, and those concerns were addressed. Staff recommendation to the Director of Development Services is that the City Commission conduct the second and final public hearing and approve the ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
This is a public hearing. If you wish to speak about item 7B, please come to the podium. Seeing none, public comments are closed. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas? Yes. Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Commission has adopted ordinance 3281, an ordinance vacating, abandoning a platted easement and alleyway located on High Avenue south of West 21st Street, Panama City, Florida, is more particularly described, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing for the severability of any part of this ordinance declared invalid, and providing for an effective date.
Item 7C is the first of two public hearings on ordinance 3286.1, an ordinance amending the future land use of the map of the city to reflect the land use designation of mixed use for property located at 1026 Mulberry Avenue with parcel ID 18575-000-000. As background information, the applicant has requested a future land use change to mixed use and a rezoning to mixed use 3 or MU3. This item was previously reviewed by the Planning Board on September 8th of 2025. The Planning Board recommended approval unanimously. Staff concurs. Following documents are enclosed: Ordinance 3286.1, the staff analysis report, recommendation, and public comments, and the adopted map series. Staff recommendation to the Director of Development Services that the City Commission conduct the first public hearing for this ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
If you wish to speak about item 7C, please come to the podium. 7C. Public comments are closed. Mr. Zimmerman.
First reading, ordinance 3286.1, an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan future land use map of the city to reflect the land use designation of mixed use for a parcel of land located at 1026 Mulberry Avenue, Panama City, Florida, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Item 7D is the first of two public hearings on ordinance 3286.2, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city to reflect a zoning designation of mixed use 3 or MU3 for property located at 1026 Mulberry Avenue. Same background information as the prior item. Staff recommendation to the Director of Development Services is that the City Commission conduct the first public hearing for this ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
If you wish to speak on this item, 7D, please come forward to the podium. Seeing none, public comments are closed. Mr. Zimmerman.
First reading, ordinance 3286.2, an ordinance zoning a parcel of land located at 1026 Mulberry Avenue, having approximately .16 acres, mixed use 3, providing for severability and an effective date.
Item 7E is the first of two public hearings on ordinance 3287.1, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the city to reflect the land use designation of mixed use for property located at 1018 Oak Avenue with parcel ID 18560-000-000. As background information, the applicant has requested a future land use change to mixed use and a rezoning to mixed use 3 or MU3. This item was previously reviewed by the Planning Board on September 8th of 2025, and the Planning Board recommended denial unanimously. Staff concurs. The following documents are enclosed: Ordinance 3287.1, the staff analysis report, recommendation, and public comments, and the adopted map series. Staff recommendation to the Director of Development Services that the City Commission conduct the first public hearing of the ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
If you wish to speak about item 7E, please come forward to the podium. Seeing nothing, no comments on 7E, closing public comments. Mr. Zimmerman.
First reading, ordinance 3287.1, an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan future land use map of the city to reflect a land use designation of mixed use for a parcel of land located at 1018 Oak Avenue, Panama City, Florida, providing for repealer, severability, and effective date.
Item 7F is the first of two public hearings on ordinance 3287.2, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city to reflect a zoning designation of mixed use 3 or MU3 for a property located at 1018 Oak Avenue. This is the same address as the prior item. Staff recommendation to the Director of Development Services of the City Commission conduct the first public hearing for the ordinance. Mr. Mayor?
If you wish to speak about item 7F, please come forward. Seeing no comments on 7F, closing public comments. Mr. Zimmerman.
Ordinance number 3287.2, first reading, an ordinance zoning a parcel of land located at 1018 Oak Avenue, Panama City, having approximately .241 acres, mixed use 3, providing for severability and effective date.
Audience participation. This is the portion of the agenda where you can speak about any of the remaining items on the agenda. You have 3 minutes to speak. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and also let us know which item you're speaking on as well. Yes, sir.
Virgil Marshall, 1611 Lincoln Avenue, Panama City, Florida. I'm speaking on item 12D. Although I was alerted that there was something going on with the wanting to utilize the park. Last time I checked on it, it was September the 17th, and I was told it was still illegal and some things we're working on. The problem is that the previous director for quality of life is no longer here, okay? What his vision was when he made that, I don't know. But since that park was named 18 months ago after my uncle and aunt, and it was bought 60 years ago for the community, I think it's wrong to give somebody exclusive right who's new to the hill to come in and take over that park. So I would like to see y'all postpone it because there are some concerns, okay? They're asking for lightings and they're asking for receptacles. But is that because their address is listed as a vending company and they want to have a captive audience of all those kids out there, which that vending company is less than 50 yards from the field? Also, we've not had access to the field for folks that wanted to go and walk and exercise. So they pretty much has had it that way too. So until we get a new director, let's postpone this. Let's see what their vision are, because it's not just a field, it's a park. And there's 2 additional parcels to the north that could be expanded to make the park. Let's add parking and all those other issues that are going to be created when you start having soccer tournaments and different things and stuff like that. Parking is a big issue. And I'd love to sit down at the table and talk to the city, them and that, because I've lived on that street my whole entire life. And I don't think there's anybody that knows that area better than me. So I'm not completely opposed to it. But since we named it after my uncle and aunt, we were in the development process, and I know there's some resources to add some lighting and do some stuff. Let's come back to the table and decide what we can do, and then we'll see about the renovation. But it's not just the field. They're soccer players, so they're interested in that. We're interested in the park because when Michael came, we had a brick and mortar building, concession stand, bathrooms, a grill, and a play area for the kids. If you start having all of those things there, you're going to have siblings that are coming to see their people play, and they need to be looked after too. It's not just the field. It's a park, and we need to include everything for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, there's no vote today on that item. It's just a discussion. So we're just having a discussion. So there's no vote today. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Frank DiPinto. My address is 801 West 13th Street. Okay, and I'm here to emphasize the importance and need to protect the city's Marina Grassy Parkway and the T-Dock Pier from destructive development. The Gateway Parkway and T-Dock Pier at the south end of the marina form a unique world-class platform for one, viewing the sweeping panoramic views of St. Andrews Bay, and 2, a platform for the city's annual 4th of July celebration. This year, according to Destination Panama City, the 4th of July celebration was attended by 8,000 fun-loving local and regional citizens. The Grassy Parkway and T-Dock Pier are under attack by a recently city-hired developer, City Marina Partners, CMP. Quote from a newspaper article, their quote, "Cluster of single-story restaurant buildings on the T-Dock." Cluster buildings, and that doesn't even include the parking, which will completely destroy that area. This cluster of single-story restaurants on the T-Dock will, obstruct the marina scenic panoramic view of St. Andrews Bay. 2, disgrace the 9/11 memorial site. And 3, destroy the city's annual 4th of July celebration stage area for bands and attendees. City Marina partner, CMP, has developed 300,000 square foot of building construction throughout the project. Without graphic presentation, display, or public overview or input, which threatens the environmental function and integrity of Panama City's world-class marina. The only standing structure on the T-Dock Pier should be the 9/11 sculptural memorial, the 4 surrounding benches, and the American flag. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are y'all doing today? I have the privilege of serving as president of St. Andrews Soccer Club and happy to stick around and answer any questions perhaps y'all have on item 12D.
I need your name and address, please.
Sorry, Cameron Fuqua, and my address is 621 North 9th Plaza. Address of the soccer club's 97 Oak Avenue. Just wanted to stand up, kind of address a couple things real quick, share a little bit about our organization as well. We're here today really to talk not just about a soccer field, but what that field can mean for hundreds of our children, families, and youth in the Panama City area. Oak Grove Field at Mary and Robert Kane Park is more than just grass and goals for us. It's really something that's allowed confidence to build, friendships to form, and ultimately for life lessons to take root. And so we're really excited about the opportunity with the city to work through that field. Ultimately, with your approval of a 10-year agreement, we're ready to invest in the space, both physically, emotionally, and financially. I can personally attest as well. It's already been happening. I've got scars on my knees from a machete trying to clear out areas already. So we've really invested the time into that, and we're looking to continue doing that to support that area. We believe in year-round development, not just soccer skills, but in character, community, and consistency. So our long-term vision includes expanding those training opportunities, bringing economic value to the area, and ultimately offering a safe, structured outlet for kids 7 days a week. I wanted to briefly just address 3 clarifying things real quick. One, our organization has nothing to do with Giambra Vending, which is right next door. Our organization does lease 2 of those warehouse spaces as an indoor soccer facility that is connected effectively with the local land. So just a bit of clarification as to why we utilize that space. Number 2, access continues to be open to the public there. In fact, last night we had over 50 local community people using it for open play. About half of which were not within our club. There's a side gate, which we finally cleared a path to, that is unlocked 24/7. We had been asked by the previous director to lock the main gates so that cars could not get in and out overnight because they were coming in and doing donuts and ruining the field. But the side gate is always unlocked and always has access. And then lastly, our vision does include those back 7 acres. It's a 10, 15-year vision, and we're happy to share more information on that piece too as y'all get to the item. If you have questions, just let me know. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Michelle Bryant, 409 East 9th Street. The item for discussion, item 12D, my concern about that is there are very few parks in the Ward 2 area, even fewer in the heel of St. Andrews area. The one in particular on line item 12D, the Oak Grove Park, the Robert and Mary Kane Field, is the only one on the hill. As previously discussed by another individual that came up here, it was destroyed by Hurricane Michael. This park, as stated, had a concession stand, playground equipment. It was very vital to that community. Not just a field, it was a place for family members and others to come and have events and get-togethers. In addition, the apartment complex that is not too far from the park does not have a playground. After having many conversations with the property management, they view the Robert and Mary Kane Field as a very important piece to the youth of the community. Currently, the City of Panama City does not have an Adopt a Park program. So I believe before we jump into allowing any entity to fully take ownership of a park for 10 years, let's start with baby steps. And the first one is adopting a park to show that they have the love and care for the park as well as love and care for that particular community. So the questions I have to leave with you guys is, how will the lighting impact the local residents? Will the community continue to have daily access? Will events be able to continue to serve that particular community, i.e. backpack, movie nights, many events that I have personally and privately invested into for the community based off the needs from the property management and the residents of that area. As the City of Panama City looks to grow and redevelop and revitalize, please don't forget those communities that may not have the financing or the money, but have the heart to want to have a place to play as well as be entertained. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jennifer Bowman, 2705 Woodmere Drive. I'm commenting on Section 10B. I also own the building at 213 Harrison Avenue. And I park 99.9% of the time when Park Avenue is there. I'm parking that way. But we do park mostly right now in the Trustmark parking lot and walk to our office from that parking lot and other areas right there. I see the stop sign as such a need for this community, not only for people walking around downtown, but if we've gone ahead and made these sidewalks bigger, streets a little narrower, there are more cars. We love it downtown. People drive too fast. Plain and simple. I know they're going to change the speed limit down there, but I think not only Oak and Harrison, I think every cross street in that downtown area should be a four-way stop. It's going to save lives. It's going to save accidents from happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Walter P. Henry, 614 Maple Avenue. I want to get back on item 6B. I know y'all need to think about the citizens of Panama City. I know y'all trying to take care of the county. We got property, we got sewer in places that the city that folks are not on. Subdivisions that is not in the city of Panama City. But they have city water, city sewer, city garbage. And y'all need to look at this for the citizens. Y'all let these people stay, don't have to get in there, come into the city, charge them the same prices. That the people that live inside a city of Panama City, prices should be different. Y'all change your ordinance. It's time that nobody tied on a piece of city property and onto a city sewer or water. They had to be annexed into the city. County don't want y'all to do that no more. Y'all say, well, y'all get on our sewer, get our water, and y'all have better benefits than the city, folk that live inside the city. It's not fair. It's not right. You can listen right here, what I'm saying, but you're gonna do what you wanna do. And I'm gonna tell you anyway. Think about it. If anybody you should be looking after is the folks that's inside of Panama City. You don't give anybody anything, you should be giving it to us. Now, you make it, y'all, I know you might be short of money, trying to find a way to get you some. That's fine. But while you're getting it, don't try to get it all from us. The county told y'all on Redwood, they understood the water, the storm drain, like they were running it in Millville. That wasn't so. They running water out of Cedar Grove, their water into Panama City, the drain from Cedar Grove into Panama City. I know this. Y'all better think about it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Hi, I'm Nicole Brown, 3703 West 26th Court, and I'm here representing Perry and Young at 200 Harrison Avenue. To piggyback on what Jennifer said, we are in agreement with a four-way stop. It's in the interest of public safety. Downtown is beautiful, but it is difficult to see around those blind corners, so we definitely are in favor of it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I pray you had a lovely weekend. You had 4 days. Most places had 4 days. I don't know
You were on
about.
late last night.
Excuse me?
You were on late last night when you're live.
It was a late day. I'm glad you'd follow me, as I'm sure the rest of you do as well. Aside from that, Brenda Lewis Williams, 2748 Oak Hammock Drive. I have 3 issues I'd wish to speak to. One is a question, 9A. It reads, Ms. Smith, well below target balances. That's a little strange to me. I'm not an accountant such as yourself, but my question is the city on resuscitation or physically healthy? Then 11A, why are developers be having a difficult time in reference to purchasing private property, which would be private property if they purchase it for private enterprise? There have been 2 such incidences of this in the past month. Mr. Clubs is one, and the gentleman about the liquor store. Secondly, it's rather disconcerting that every time we turn around, or I notice, that areas, specifically historic black areas, are being negated. To take Oak Grove, as it was previously called, we had a ceremony where Commissioner Lucas was in attendance, renaming the park Robert Mary Kane Park. And as I understand, you grew up on the Hill, as you've mentioned several times. So why are we coming into an historically black community not affording the residents a park as we've done in other areas? So we're still waiting on Henry Davis Park completion. We're waiting on Joe Moody Harris Park completion. I rode through the city not too long ago. I did a doodle on it, and there's a park on 19th Street up from the Boys and Girls Club. Wonderful rehabbing going on over there. Nothing happening in this community. Oak Grove Park deserves to belong to the community, stay with the community. I don't agree with postponing it. City needs to rehab it, and a 10-year exclusive contract is ridiculous. Here again, you can't make sense out of nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Good morning.
Derek Thomas, 1100 West 10th Street. Last time I came and talked about, I'm talking about 11B, the marina again. You're right, I said 800. It's not. The total amount that they've been paying for the restaurant and the hotel is the restaurant paid $33.96 and the hotel paid $10,411. So I was wrong, I said 800, it's not that much. Between the two of them, less than 11,000. Now you're putting in, you're talking about putting in apartments and stuff, because you're gonna get out of that 6%, if that is what you're gonna get. Because in the information given out at the date that you voted to move forward with this, by the company, that they're gonna use the same compensation as the hotel and the restaurant just used, where they pay absolutely nothing for the first 650, and then so on and so forth. And maybe once you're making over 4 million, you're paying 6%. But that's not what they're paying for the whole thing. If they did make 4 million plus for the 100 to 225 apartments, then they'd give the city, according to them, 391. That's less than the marina would have produced if you had just produced the marina. The St. Andrews Marina, the year before the hurricane, produced a profit of $438,236. From now on, with the contract that you've put in place with St. Andrews, the most you're ever going to see, while they're making $1.7 million a year, is $43,000 instead of the $438,000. The city marina is about the same. You've given up the opportunity to have FEMA pay for the permits, which you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing things on, and then $450,000 and going for stuff. You could have had that paid for free. You could have had the permits paid for free. All you had to do is build it back the way it was, and you would have had something that was more functional and was covered and more valuable. More than half the slips were covered because they were more valuable. You don't leave your car out on the road if you have a carport. You've donated lots and lots of money. And just the planning for the parks that you donated money from to do the Martin Theater while you were donating for the marina, that's like $1 million just to draw up plans. And now all of those parks are gonna have to be rehabbed using taxpayer money. And we don't have any more we don't have any more money coming in from the marinas, and that's because you've given that option away. And now you're talking about taking away the green area where we paid $150,000 for the trees, and before the trees are even mature, taking that green area away from the public to use, and taking away the public parking for the apartments, taking away the Civic Center's been torn down, but now that's not going to be used for the public. It's going to be used for parking for their apartments, and the lawn is going to be behind those apartments. We can't even see the sunset.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Closing public comments. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, now we are down to 10B. Mr. Hughes.
Thank you, Mayor. Had a few people get up and speak about Oak Avenue and Harrison Avenue. I like unintended consequences of positive growth, and this is one. It just so happens because Oak Avenue, heading north or south, is lower than Harrison Avenue, and trying to look east or west, is not really working out, and there can be almost car accidents every day, and believe it or not, going that slow, it still can be an accident, and almost pedestrian accidents. And so I wanted to bring I've been approached by many of all four corners of that intersection to ask about installing an extra 2 stop signs going on Harrison Avenue, where there already are signs that say traffic is not stopping, or it is through traffic. So I thought I'd ask the commission tonight if y'all felt like it. Could we have a vote to install a stop sign on Harrison Avenue going at the intersection of Oak and Harrison? And we'll open that for comment if y'all would like to.
Yeah, it's my neighborhood.
Your neighborhood, yes.
My wife wants a stop sign there.
That's a yes then, folks.
But the hard part is, what we don't want to do is create this environment where it's like, oh, Alan thinks there should be a stop sign here. Alan thinks that, and we just start changing roads because I've never designed it right. I definitely have pulled out there and you kind of nose out and you, oh, car coming. And I don't know how to balance. This has happened a few times where we have suggestions of changes to roads and then we go, do we just change them according to whatever we think, or how do we handle that? So I'm supportive of a stop sign being there. I would hope we'd have a traffic study or something that say, oh, clearly there should be something there, versus us just willy-nilly changing roads how we see fit, because we're not engineers.
Fair enough.
So, I don't know.
We're not engineers, but I think that we are grown adults with eyes and ears. And I agree. I think a stop sign should be there, but I don't think that necessarily just because a traffic engineer says that it doesn't warrant a stop sign due to their standards, and just because a police officer says, well, it doesn't warrant a stop sign due to their standards, does not mean that we have to have a deaf ear on the outcry of the people that live and work around a specific area to answer them. But it's my understanding that the DIB offered to pay for this. Am I wrong on that?
No, yeah, this is a request to, my understanding was to have the city's general fund pay for it. The DIB had already offered to pay for it. I guess maybe collecting some money from the folks at the corner. We'll probably have to make some modifications for some of the spots closer, maybe make them golf cart, motorcycle, because, it does kind of limit your view a little bit on Harrison, because, you're traveling, you might not see the stop sign. And that's why there's one of the reasons why there wasn't one that was designed in advance. That's what I was told. It was put in motion before, but no, I had received consistent feedback, and the DIB came. I don't remember if it was under Maria Williams or Miss Nick, so there was kind of a time of transition there. But they said, look, we'd really like to consider doing this. We've got folks that are willing to chip in, so it doesn't affect the city's budget, since it's not something the city officially says that it needs. And I said, that's fine. And so I know they were working on estimates, so we got one back. It's going to be probably 12 to 14,000. And one of the issues is, Donald, if you could put up the picture, it's not as simple like in a neighborhood of just putting down like a stop bar and throwing a sign up. Because of the pavers, we have to come in and make modifications to what is called like the ribbon curb in order to put the white pavers and the stop bar in. And you are required through the MTUCD, which is the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, to have both stop sign at the appropriate level as well as the stop bar down on that. So this would add, this quote would add the stop bar on Harrison Avenue for north and south bound travel, and basically make it a four-way stop. So the signs on Oak that say through traffic does not stop would be changed to always stop.
How long would the road be down if we proceed?
Say again, sir?
How long would the road be closed for?
I believe it was 3 or 4 days, because you have to set the concrete up, you have to let it, you have to kind of let it set, and then you come in and put the paver. So I would assume, 3 or 4 days if everything's perfect, 5 days if there's any kind of hiccup. So we don't expect there to be a hiccup. What now?
Well, I guess it does, both sides.
I didn't hear you, Commissioner.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they started work on like a Monday morning, I mean, it shouldn't be too impactful to that area.
Well, yeah, and again, because the folks there, the intersection, as Commissioner Hughes said, really have requested it, I think they'd be out there saying, leave the city alone. They're doing what we asked them to do. So that's their commitment, right?
I'll be like,
yeah, rah, rah.
There you go.
Because everybody does that.
Yeah.
I'm very supportive of the sign being there. What I don't want to do is create this environment where anytime a bunch of people get upset about it and we start changing roads, just reacting to emotion.
That's the environment.
Yeah.
That's the environment.
But I do want my wife wants a stop sign there. If Anna wants a stop sign, we get a stop sign there.
There is, putting too many stop signs too close together can also cause problems, because it starts jamming traffic up and people naturally get impatient. And the thought was to keep traffic flowing up through the roundabout or the plaza, and then from there up to 5th and then up to 6th. So.
Yeah.
So
I need a vote on that.
So we are pushing towards, we want an approval of the change.
Do we need to get a number?
Yeah, I mean,
more than just a discussion.
I think the question is, do we want to, are y'all going to basically have the general fund pay for it rather than the DIB?
DIB.
What do you
For the
ask?
record.
What's they ask?
My ask was of the city. The DIB question didn't come up to me until 2 weeks ago. Okay, so my ask was for the city, not, and I think the DIB ask really came about because they wanted it to happen, and they were, we'll get some business owners to do it. I think that's really less formal of an ask, as mine was directed to the city to add the general fund. To get it moving.
So your ask today is
to put in motion the addition of the four-way stop, those two signs, plus the stop bar, as city manager said. And I think to Josh's point, he said, do we need a cost? The cost is the cost. Then it's not going to be, you're saying $10,000 to $15,000?
12 to 15.
12 to 15.
Why don't we authorize the staff to work with the DIB to install a stop sign there at the expense of the DIB?
I've already authorized that, to be clear. I'm waiting on the formal quote to come back in writing, and the DIB was going to proceed.
Okay, so
That happened probably 2 months ago.
so there's going to be a stop sign going in if the DIB pays
Correct.
for it.
Well,
I think the request from Commissioner Hughes is that the city pay for it
I was
instead of
told,
the DIB.
I was told that in order to get this stop sign, I need the commission's support. So that's why I brought it up here. Whether the DIB pays for it or not, I was asking for the city to pay for it. I don't see that being a DIB expense.
I do.
They didn't pay for the downtown roads to start with, therefore I don't think they ought to pay for the stop sign. No, I was also asked if that DIB expense were to take place, would we, as a city, have an expense back for them that they feel like is more in their lane? For example, to enclose a dumpster and paint it, or make it be something nice there. I don't think the DIB sees that expense as theirs. I think as in their expense department.
They offered to pay for it though.
Well, offered to pay for it is, I think, a loose term, in my opinion. I don't know that they came to us and said, we would like to put a stop sign in. That's not the way I understand it.
You got three funding mechanisms to pay for things downtown. You
Yes, sir.
Be a CRA,
Yes, sir.
general fund.
And when I came here, when I came to ask, originally my ask was for the city to pay for it out of the general fund.
Yeah, I would prefer not to pay for it out personally.
Well, and what that does allows us to say, well, we don't react to it's like, well, the DIB paid for it, doesn't come out of the general fund. So I do like that as a defense mechanism, just like whenever someone wants a change in a road, we have they paid for it.
Yeah.
A compromise might be for us just to split the cost with them.
Split the costs from the CRA?
No, with the general fund.
There's just three funding mechanisms for this area. I would prefer it to come out of the DIB or the CRA.
Just for situational awareness, we are working on a dumpster enclosure similar to what we did behind the Martin Theater for the one there at the Bagel Maker. And that's going to be a kind of a partnership between the city, the DIB, and the CRA. We're all chipping in a third for that, just situational awareness.
So what about CRA and DIB splitting?
We do a,
Yay.
do CRA and the DIB. Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
We can't this board currently in this moment can't authorize a CRA, but
Right.
we can suggest to ourselves at a later meeting.
Yeah.
So essentially, we can say we approve, support the four-way stop. However, funding needs to be other than the general fund. That's a statement we could make.
Yeah, that's my
I think that would be great, and those amounts would be inside the threshold of my authorization level anyway. So
Sounds like
a motion.
you're getting a stop sign.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Do we make a motion?
Can somebody make a motion on that?
Do we need a motion?
Move to support or approve a four-way stop at, what is that? street?
Oak and Harris.
Oak and Harrison Avenue with funding sources other than the general fund of the city.
Okay, we have a
Second.
discussion. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
10C, Mr. Commissioner Granger.
Mr. That's when, Mr. Mayor. Right, what was this date? June 10th, of 2025. Agenda item 10 alpha, I had brought to this board and y'all agreed that we needed to have, evaluations for all three of our direct hires. What we didn't do at the time was just decide what forms we wanted to use, if we even wanted to use forms. Jonathan is the only employee that we currently have that we have a form that we use on his evaluation. However, while the form itself may lend itself to use, the questions probably need to be changed. And so in your packet, you should see multiple examples of. Did you not, Nevin, were you able to distribute those?
They were all distributed via email, sir.
So you have an email with all the different forms from various different municipalities in regards to the clerk and in regards to the city attorney. I will point out that in some municipalities, the city clerk has different duties than our city clerk does. In some cases, the city clerk is under the city manager. That wouldn't be appropriate in this case because our city manager or our city clerk is not. So point that out, and what I would like to do is either decide today what form we would like to use, but if you're not ready to do that, then I would like to decide that in November or the second meeting of this month. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I'm supportive of this process. I think it's great. I think it's something that we probably needed to do for quite a while. I do want to make sure that whatever these forms are, and I did get a chance to review the ones that got sent. I do want us to take extra focus on citizen service. I think that is one of the things that all three of our chartered officers are responsible for engaging with. And oftentimes the issues that we deal with as a public body and as commissioner or mayor has to do with how well they actually fulfill those duties in engagement with our citizens. And so I'm not sure that any one of those really had that. I do think most of the other ones, like all the other evaluation points were good. I just would like to see an additional focus on citizen response and service.
Okay. Anyone else?
I too am supportive of the process. And given your question, whether we decide today or the meeting, the next meeting or the next meeting after that, I suggest we move it to one of those two meetings and not decide today.
I like the idea. I was reading through the different forms, and I thought maybe more customization, to your point, getting more specific about interaction with the customer, yes, but also interaction with us, how we flow, how they put information back and forth and helping us get the new guy learn. But I think everybody's doing a great job, but I think putting that out there for, are you doing a great job is always nice to hear, or what do I have to improve on? So I'm in favor of it.
So maybe the appropriate thing would be for us to provide our feedback between now and the next meeting so that we can make our form recommendation at that one.
I think a process could be that I just will come up with one, a kind of either amalgamation or just choose one of the forms that kind of incorporates citizen service, and then have Nevin pass it around to very publicly to have y'all's inputs back on it, and once it's done, we can bring it back to the board, present it to the public, and say this is what we're looking to do, and if everybody's okay with it, then we'll vote it in.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Sounds great.
Do we need a motion for any of that?
I think so.
Probably clarity on who you want to run that through.
I'll motion that Commissioner Granger be the point person for us to give our feedback.
Forms are?
And accumulate the final form. Does that work?
It works for me. I want to not run afoul of the sunshine law.
What you described would work, which is that you'll come up with a form, you'll distribute it, feedback can be given through me. any comments and all, so there would not be anything outside of the meeting. And then the comments and the final form would be presented at the next meeting.
Okay. So then would Nevin be the point person?
That's what I heard, but I mean,
But I won't I will hold my feedback until you've circulated something.
right, right. So there'll be a draft circulated by Commissioner Granger. That draft, you would then, you would have it. You can mark it up. You could give it to me, and then your markups will also be presented along with everything else at the next meeting. And I will give it back to you, of course.
Did my motion cover that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, what Commissioner Granger gives to the attorney will then be sent out for us to mark up and give back to the attorney. Do they then go back to Commissioner Granger before we meet?
It'll go to Commissioner Granger and everyone before we meet.
Which everyone will eventually see all of our.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But not for him to draft another,
He could draft another one,
but each of us could then at that point.
but yes, yes. It's a little, different, but I think
Such an
it
odd
works.
process having to to evaluate employees on a 5-member board that you cannot discuss.
In any other process outside of a public, entity, it would be a, Word doc that we can all just, comment out and say, this is what we want to do. And yeah, all right.
Okay, so we have a first and a second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Mr. Zimmerman, 11A.
Thank you. 11A is a report on the purchase of 1300 and 1306 Beck Avenue, and also a report on the closing of 1309 Chestnut parcel. I believe it was last week, or I think it was actually maybe the week before, but Diego's Properties LLC closed on the parcel 1309 Chestnut Avenue. The purchase price was $280,000. The purpose was to build parking. They also, for Los Anjitos Restaurant, they also agreed and entered into an option to repurchase agreement where they would construct an improvement within 3 years. Also, that if it is parking, that it would be paved and landscaped. The specific item here is 1300 and 1306 Beck Avenue, the entity that Mr. Greg Clubs was involved in. There never was what we call a meeting of the minds. There never was a purchase contract actually executed. And so he officially rescinded the offer because of he felt that the price was above market, and also, once again, there was discussion about parking on this parcel. So that leaves out of the 3 parcels that were auctioned, one was closed on, the other 2 are available still for further disposition by the City Commission. But that's the report, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on that, and I'd like to see us do less auctions in general, and more move to P3s, and have either Dover Cole outline what we could have in these sort of commercial corridors of things that would spur on more development, than us hoping we get a good price at auction and hoping the person builds something that the neighborhood needs. I'd like to be a little more proactive and see us move away from auctions into P3s.
I think what I learned from this process with the public, specifically in St. Andrews, was that people actually care what ends up on the public properties that we currently own. And I would also voice support for P3. I do think in this particular instance, it would be good maybe prior to next meeting or our next CRA meeting, since these both kind of coincide, even though this is not a CRA property, there are some that we do own that I think would be helpful in trying to maybe make a a large format P3 that someone could engage on a singular property, or they could engage in multiple properties, so that we might see if we could attract someone for either purchase or lease. And, you know, the parcels that I think should be in consideration are 14th and Beck that we purchased for a stormwater pond. That looks like that we may not need that based upon FDOT's current work plan. And even including, you know, St. Andrew's School, which we don't own. However, it is a piece of property that is owned by the public. And so, anyway, I think that I just voice support for moving in the P3 direction on the next iteration of this, based upon the feedback that I've gotten from residents, and that, hey, like, we want to make sure we don't just end up with a piece of vacant land, but we also don't want something that's detrimental to the community. And I think a P3 kind of answers both of that.
Yeah.
You know, 7 years ago, this city had been totally devastated, as had the rest of our county. And we came together and we worked together. The Dover Coal Charrettes is one example of us working together to say, what is our vision for our city and what would we like to see happen? That spirit is still here, and I'd like for us to build on that. Not just for the large-scale format, but also for the small-scale development, for us to figure out together how we develop the properties that are in the public domain that the city of Panama City owns. And there are directives that we can give beyond the plan to make the plan come to life, working with our CRA, working with our city staff, planning department, and so forth. And so I too concur with the P3, but not just at the large scale, but small scale development as well, so that we can bring all neighborhoods up and have the input of the folk who live in those neighborhoods to be a part of the process.
Any other discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So the only challenge with this particular parcel, as a reminder, and this predates you and Commissioner Hughes, but I put forward kind of a strategy for increasing parking in St. Andrews back towards the end of 2024. And we identified a grant that we had, and we recently got the environmental clearance for that, for the parking lot at 1128 Chestnut. So the beauty of that is the purchase price of that parcel at 1128 Chestnut is now going to be recognized as our contribution to that grant. So we'll have plenty of money to build that parking lot at 1128 Chestnut. That's the old diesel property. And it'll have about 112 to 115 spots, of which 5 will be handicapped. But the reason we were selling those parcels at 1300 and 1306 Beck and 1309 Chestnut was to help recuperate, in addition to the cell phone tower over by Fire Station 2, was to recuperate the money spent, $111,000, as well as have the money necessary to pave behind the Chevron and Hunt's Oyster Bar parking lot to do the boat trailer parking that is desperately needed for St. Andrews.
Well,
So, I mean,
don't think a P3 doesn't negate the sale price. It actually, and this is kind of what Robbie's touched on a few times, it actually, a developer who builds things will be excited that there's a path forward, because then they go, oh, the city's not going to put me through the ringer on development orders and agreements and permitting. This is what they want. I can execute my money faster. And so having a vision for the property can be looked at. If you wanted to build something different, yes, it doesn't entice you. But if you're looking to deploy money in that product, that whatever we're proposing is actually, it makes it more enticing to somebody. And so I don't think that if we go to a P3, it doesn't negate that we won't collect money from the property. It just, to me, puts a vision on the property.
my concern is it just be a lot less, and we wouldn't have enough sufficient money to do the underground electrical work and paving behind Hunt's. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
I mean, to your
I love
point,
a
Mayor,
P3. Love a P3.
the Greenville mayor, when he was here, their contribution to the P3 was the dirt and the parking lot, and then they had to build above that. So at some point, there's a parking lot there and vertical construction, and everybody wins. So you're right. Having that vision really is an attractive point, but more particularly, what they're saving from our contribution really can be the thing that puts them over the edge of being able to do the deal. So.
And I would say, Jonathan, I mean, to your point, I mean, I definitely think, because, you know, that specific lot that you mentioned, which is not the Chestnut Old Diesel Shop property, but the one right across the street behind Hunt's.
Correct.
Also answers one of the things that we've neglected a lot, which has been boat trailer parking for the ramp that's over there. So during the daytime. So if there's a way that maybe Michelle could take a relook at our CRA budget and see if there's a way that we might be able to move some things around in prioritization, I would be supportive of that just to make sure that we can keep projects going forward. But to Alan's point, I think if we move quickly, and I don't want to just let it hang out there. And so I'd like us to get something down on paper because I think there are other interested people that have been, and I know that we've engaged with a few that were just engaging while we were kind of in this, hey, is it going to be purchased, is it not? So now's an opportunity for us to re-engage, but be very clear with what our expectations are for these parcels.
Yeah, and as we're sitting here talking through this, I actually remembered it definitely predated me, even as prior director. I don't know if it predated you, Commissioner Street, but I understand there was a P3 initiated, a request for proposals for P3s on these parcels. I don't know if Mr. Jones and Ms. Waldron can speak to that, but.
Yes, there was. We actually did that, I believe it was in 2019 or 2020. And we had 2 respondents. The responses, there's frankly just from our LDC and what planning could allow and the footprint of those lots, it was too much. I mean, one of them had a 200-bedroom hotel. So there wasn't a way to support that in that footprint, along with the necessary parking at the time that our comp plan required. So
I think what I'm hearing, what I'm hearing, especially from Commissioner Hughes, is that, and I agree with it, is that we need to decide what we want first and then move. And I think that that's exactly what we need to do is I do think we need help with that, determining what would best benefit the neighborhood in any given property that the city owns. And then go out with a P3 request to say, we want X, Y, and Z, who's willing to provide that. I think that we will have more success in that, or no success, but we won't have 1 or 2 is my guess. One thing though that I have been trying to kick around, and it's just been kind of sitting on the back burner for me, but it keeps popping up every time we talk about these properties, is a chef incubator. And the idea behind that is that if we have property, what we could do is we could partner with various local banks and the local college and university to create a space where we provide either food trucks or some kind of small kitchen to where an aspiring chef can rent from us very, very cheaply, but they have to each month show that they're earning money, that they're able to run the business side of it. And when they falter, we provide support through local banks that are volunteering their time and effort to help with not managing, but to kind of help put them back on track from a business perspective. And I think if we were to do something like that and really invest in our culinary arts in this area, especially in St. Andrews, I think St. Andrews is, we're downtown, but we have more land in St. Andrews, that it would eventually cause an explosion, and all of the restaurants in the area would benefit from it. Because now you would have chefs who know what they're doing from a business perspective, not only a food perspective. Certain other areas in the country have done this, and the ones that have done it very thoughtfully have been very successful and have caused neighborhoods like this to turn into kitchens and whatnot, that places that you would go, like that you think of, you're like, oh man, I'm hungry, I'd like to eat. But the idea being is that they would only be in there for a specific amount of time, and they would have to perform, right? So,
I'm
but with
interested
the
in
safety.
creative ideas.
Yeah, so that's just an idea. I haven't fully fleshed out how to pay for it and who all the players are on it, but it is an idea that I've been kind of mulling over. And I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from when I talk to bankers about it. They have a lot of really good feedback. One of the problems with restaurants and banks is that restaurants fail. Most restaurants fail within the first 5 years. And so a banker looks at that and goes, well, I don't want to drop our money into it. I want to be very risk adverse when it comes to that. And if you've already been working with somebody and you know that they know how to do it, it takes some of that risk away. That personal relationship with the chef kind of takes some of that risk away. Anyway, that's just a thought.
So Commissioner Granger, I invite you to stop by 80 Harris, talk with Rebuild Bay Executive Director Donna Pilson. That is in the vision for the 80 Harris Learning Village. New refrigeration has been put in there. FPL has been supportive. So that's well underway.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on this item?
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, I think y'all need, my request would be that y'all move to remove my authorization to sell those parcels because that standing approval is there from the end of 2024 and instead direct staff to craft a P3. Maybe we can bring back either at this next, probably I would shoot for the meeting in 2 weeks.
A motion to remove the authorization to sell and authorize staff to bring back a P3.
Can you modify that to include direction from either Dover Coal or at least in line with the Dover Coal plan?
Yeah, sure. In line with the Dover Coal plan process.
Second. Any discussion?
Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. The next item I have is a task order from PFM that's attached. We anticipate receiving a task order from Dover Coal, which we just have not received yet. It would relate to conducting charrettes and connected with the planning of the downtown marina. This task order with PFM, there are financial consultants on the marina. They did the work on the downtown marina as far as the wet slips go. This expands their scope and would include uplands. And if you look at Exhibit A, Scope of Services, it goes through the different tasks as far as working with staff. PFM does not conduct charrettes, but what they do is once the city has an idea of what it would like to see, PFM would then do an analysis of the potential revenues that would be received from that, give assistance for whether or not it makes sense economically for a developer to provide this, and also any potential revenue sharing between the developer and the city. It's an hourly rate as set out in Exhibit B with a anticipated range of $25,000 to $35,000. I recommend that the commission approve this as far as to provide assistance to you and the staff as we work to complete the CMP or the marina lease.
A motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Yeah, I think before, we were planning to use CRA funding for that, just as a point of clarification. Sorry, Mr. Zimmerman is faster than us today. So obviously, we can, find funds out of the general fund for that if you so desire, but we felt that the use of CRA funds for this would be more than appropriate.
So you're going to have to ask them.
They can be difficult to work with, sir.
I believe I've heard.
So that really just situational awareness on that as a reminder. So, all right. Are you done, Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
All right. Item 12A is consideration to approve the purchase of a new command vehicle for the Panama City Fire Department Fire Prevention Division in the amount of $79,667.00 and approval of the accompanying budget amendment resolution 2025-1014.5. As background information, the Panama City Fire Department is requesting to utilize funding received in FY 2025 for fire protection service revenues in the amount of $79,667.00 $667.00 to purchase a new command vehicle for its fire prevention division. The division was approved to add a new position to assist with the Building Services Department and various fire prevention activities conducted by the PCFD. This vehicle is needed to support the growth of this division. The purchase of this vehicle is being funded by revenue funds from the Fire Protection Services revenues. This request is also to get approval of the Budget Amendment Resolution 2025-1014.5 and to use these revenue funds to purchase the item listed above. Staff recommendation to the Fire Chief is that the Commission approve this request to purchase and the accompanying budget amendment. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, do a motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Yep. We have a budget resolution, thank you. 2025-1014.5, a resolution providing for the amendment of the approved fiscal year 25-26 budget to purchase a vehicle for the fire department using restricted revenues received in fiscal year 2025.
Item 12B is consideration of rejection of all bids from RFP PC 25-018 regarding the Breezeway property at 447 Harrison Avenue in downtown Panama City. As background information, on March 4th of 2025, the city issued a request for proposals to solicit competitive bids for the Breezeway property located at 447 Harrison Avenue. This action was initiated in response to a letter of support from the Downtown Improvement Board, which recommended selling the property to relieve the Community Redevelopment Agency of further financial investment in completing the designed renovation project. At the May 13th, 2025 Commission meeting, the City Commission considered and approved entering into negotiations with Virtuous Cycle LLC. Since then, staff had several discussions with the proposed developer, and a consensus was reached that the project was not financially feasible for the developer without funding from the city and or the CRA. During the CRA virtual workshop on September 17th of 2025, staff provided an update on the project, and the board suggested rejecting the previous bids and issuing a new RFP. Staff recommends rejecting all bids from the RFP PC 25-018 and issuing a new RFP that would require an 8-foot easement from the breezeway and public restrooms. I'll just add, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, we did receive communications from a representative from Virtuous Cycle, and I did forward that on to each of you yesterday shortly after receiving it. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I'll entertain a motion.
Was there something relevant in that email? I'm sorry, I came in late.
The email outlined the developer wanted like 10 to 12 parking spaces designated for them in the back and a couple of other things as well.
20-year lease and nominal expense again to purchase, which I think is zero. Not much changed.
Okay.
Well, they had a $500,000 investment. I think they're doing that to get the TIF, and they asked for a 90% TIF rebate. But you know, they had a shot at the apple once. I think let's try it. We'll see what the public can do with a updated RFP.
And I just would ask, first off, I would strongly encourage you not to ever approve designated parking spots for businesses. That can of worms could be very, I think, challenging. I think y'all would agree. Is just let us know, other than the necessary easement and public restrooms, is there anything that y'all expect and want to require of us to put into this RFP as staff finalizes it and post it? Or are those kind of the two requirements?
Yeah, I think it should follow, I think the idea of the Dover Coal plan being incorporated is how does this meet what has already been planned out for this area is a good idea. I think that if you want individual ideas from us, then we probably should workshop that.
Well, I guess I'm specifically asking about the restrooms because staff, we don't believe that bathrooms are necessary. We think the breezeway is the minimum requirement. But obviously we serve at the pleasure of the board. So if y'all, I think that's really what I'm asking is there collective, consensus that we want to have the easement and the restrooms, and that's a requirement of the RFP in order to make sure that people know on the front end what they're responding to, Commissioner Hughes. I hear you, sir. So,
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Yeah. To me, the public restrooms are an easy way for the developer to provide value back to us in an easy way. Like that's a way to reduce the cost because it only adds, if you think about providing public restrooms, they're going to have to provide restrooms, period. So they switched the configuration of the door being public. It's really a question of who pays for the water, who pays for the upkeep. And yes, a private restroom for those businesses there, whatever they do there, will get used way less than public restrooms. Public restrooms are going to get clogged up more, Sharpie markers, the soap gets used, it's way more ongoing expense. That to me is the conversation to be had of like, if they are required to have public restrooms, is the DIB or the city willing to maintain the restrooms where there's not this ongoing cost for this person who's like, they just keep clogging the toilets every night, and then we get blamed for the clogged toilets that they're in charge of. And so I think that would alleviate a lot of concern, even for this developer. He was like, am I going to be getting calls at midnight that the toilets are clogged? You know, someone else willing to manage this thing. That providing the restrooms isn't a big deal. It's the expectation of public restrooms to a private person who's not there every day.
But we're assuming that we would require them to have restrooms, public or private or public. What if somebody came to us, because we haven't spelled out what we exactly want, right? What if somebody came to us and said, hey, I want to move the walkway all the way over to one side and then make studio apartments out of it, private residences?
Sure.
Then there's no need for public restroom, right?
But the RFP, but the RFPs are not going to say that, is what we're
Yeah,
saying.
that's what he's
How do you
asking.
modify that?
That's what he's asking, is do we want public restrooms or do we not?
Right.
That's what it boils down to. Because if we do, then certain things like that kind of get, wiped off the table.
The other thing that public restrooms do is that actually I was in Salem, Massachusetts this weekend in Duxbury. You see a lot more protection of the existing buildings and their historic nature, and less of a requirement for ADA in those individual instances, and more public restrooms that are ADA compliant. So it's like, hey, we don't force everyone to have ADA all the time. Those who can are and do have it, but we provide public restrooms that are ADA compliant as a public service, so that we're not putting that onus on a building that can't fit ADA compliant bathrooms.
So would you want to put that on to a developer?
Yeah, I mean, that's my point. If I was going after this property, I would say public restrooms are worth $250,000. There's a market rate value of the building. I would be bringing it down by that much because I'm bringing that value back to the city. That's how I would be looking at it. Not like it's a bigger expense, but it's a way to negotiate the selling price down. So.
Either way, you've got the expense. You just take that value.
Yeah, the ongoing maintenance is the bigger concern of in 10 years, who's paying for the broken sink and the tricky fall.
What's it costing us on the new one right now? I mean, is it on a monthly basis on the ones that
Oh, McKenzie, I don't have that information, sir. I'm sorry. I know they're, the type of headaches that the mayor, talked about, heavy use, some nefarious activities at times. I mean, obviously we've increased police presence around it, but, plus some of the infrastructure around that park was old and it's all getting upgraded right now as part of Area 012. So that'll be helpful as well. But, those bathrooms are about a block and a half away. So, but I don't know the expense, sir. I'd expect them to be minimal other than, the one-off maintenance issues where someone damages it, breaks the doorknob off, or graffiti. But other than that, you're just talking about, minimal electricity and then, water and sewer.
Yeah. And in some cities, I mean, I sent Jonathan a picture of an ice cream shop I went into in Marblehead, Massachusetts this past week.
I think you went to it like 13 times.
I did, clearly. And it doesn't have restrooms because they have public restrooms and the building is so small, it couldn't even fit the public restrooms that it's supposed to provide based on code. It wouldn't even fit in the building. These little hamburger stands where you walk up, or ice cream or funnel cake things, those don't even have public facilities. So you have to provide public facilities. So to me, it's a question of, are we willing to build public restrooms in the future there? Or do we want to collaborate with developer for them to build it and we provide maintenance, particularly or something like that?
I like that.
So, I mean, I don't, that to me is not this is why this P3 didn't work in this instance. It was just lack of vision and.
Yeah, and I know that Ms. Marler on Mr. Zimmerman's team has already drafted it and made those additions, correct, Ms. Waldron? And so we could probably have that posted by the end of this week or early part of next week at the latest, just double checking it, one more time. If y'all want to continue with, right now, it's based on the conversations we've had at both meetings and at workshops, it's maintaining the easement and providing the bathrooms, because that's kind of what's the standing expression that we received from you guys. So unless you direct us otherwise today, that's the path we're moving on with your approval of the P3.
That's what I would like.
And I would make a motion, we move on without it's written and get it posted as soon as possible.
And then reject the bids?
And, well, we're rejecting the bids, yes, ma'am, and then, and resubmit,
RFP.
RFP out.
That's a motion?
Yes,
Do we
please.
have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, item 12C is consideration to award bid PC 25-047, Project Hometown Revitalization Group GB to Southern Construction Service, and approval to execute a contract in the amount of $460,698.50. As background information, an invitation for bid was advertised by the city on August 12th of 2025 to secure competitive bids for the CDBG-DR Project Hometown Revitalization Group GB work. 2 responsive proposals were received by city staff on September 26th of 2025. The lowest responsive bid was from Southern Construction Incorporated in the amount of $460,698.50, with an alternate bid in the amount of $483,396.05. Staff recommends the City Commission award the total bid to Southern Construction Service Incorporated and approve execution of the contract in the total base bid of $460,698.50. Businesses included in this group are the following: Trick Daddy Properties LLC, History Class Brewing Company, and Manuel and Thompson Law Firm. Following documents are enclosed with this agenda item: the tabulation of bids, the proposed contract with Southern Construction Service Incorporated, and the bid recommendation letter. Staff recommendation to the Director of Development Services and the City Manager's Office is that the City Commission award bid PC 25047 to Southern Construction Incorporated and executing a contract in the amount of $460,698.50 for the construction of this project CDBG-DR Hometown Revitalization Group GB. I know Mr. Zimmerman has something to add before we turn it over to you, Mr. Mayor.
And I would like to report that the mayor did talk to me about a conflict of interest that he would have if he were to vote on this item. And so I do have a disclosure of local officers' interest here where it indicates that the measure would enter to his private gain or loss. And it notes that prior to running for office and becoming the mayor, my businesses applied for and were awarded a grants that is available to other businesses in Panama City. The approval of this contract under this item is to spend the grant funds previously awarded. Just making the point that the application and the award of the grant occurred prior to election. Now that he is the mayor, it's appropriate for him to abstain, and during the vote, he will abstain from voting and file this form.
Do I have a motion?
So we only got an even number now, folks. You gotta go all in.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion for staff's recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention.
All right, item 12D is consideration of unsolicited proposal from the St. Andrews Soccer Club for exclusive scheduling rights at Oak Grove Field for 10 years in exchange for renovation of the playing surface. The St. Andrews Soccer Club, or SASC, has submitted an unsolicited proposal to the Parks, Recreation, and Culture Department for exclusive scheduling rights to the field for 10 years in exchange for their investment to renovate the playing surface. SASC has proposed to completely renovate the playing surface of the field to include comprehensive turf restoration, leveling, and improvements to ensure long-term playability and stability. SASC will also maintain the field at a significant savings to the city. In exchange, SASC requests that the city only allow allow the public to use the field during non-scheduled SASC hours, provide continued irrigation, and install additional electrical outlets or sports field lighting due to the field having insufficient lighting. Staff recommends that the commission consider the attached proposal. If considered, commission may want to advertise for 30 days to accept any other proposals for the use and investment of the field before entering into negotiations and agreement with SASC. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, let's discuss. Who wants to start?
So having heard from the community this morning, and this, I think, is an unprecedented offer for a public park for exclusivity rights, I would prefer that we have a meeting with the community and with SAS to talk about this particular proposal, and that we not take action today.
Yeah, Jason.
Agreed. I think this could be like a 2-hour discussion, and so a workshop makes sense, and even have the public engaged on that. Part of we're running into this sort of, we're getting these unsolicited offers on things, and marina being a thing, and you know all of our properties. And I've requested that we move into a system similar to the counties where we have a rotation of commercial agents who establish what the value is. Because if this was my personal property, I would go, what is it worth to lease it? There's a value to that. There's an emotional value, which is a park, but there's also the actual value on the market. And so we don't really know what this is worth 6 months of the year being leased. So, and then he would say, or they would say, oh, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this to provide this value back. But the starting point would be an evaluation of what the thing we have is worth. And I think if we don't start with that basis, we're just, sort of running emotionally, and I'd like to have a number established of what this thing's worth, and also put it out, and not just this property, but all the properties of Truesdale Park is another one. Of if you have a thing there, that is if that was privately owned, you'd be paying rent for that, and so the value back to the community has to be not just equal to what the land value is, at least to me, it has to be greater than, way greater than, to even entertain the concept. And then, as he mentioned, there's other acreage behind it that is a little more low-lying, that is not part of the active park that's there. That's a little more interesting to me than taking an existing park and allocating it 6 months of the year to private use. I'm interested in value back to the community can be defined by maintenance and keeping it up, or scholarships, all those sort of things. Just philosophically, it feels a little bit weird to take a park from a neighborhood that needs a gathering place and give it to a business that works with people who can afford private coaching, right? So we want to really look at this tough. It's a tough decision, and we want to be fair about it. And it starts to move an evaluation of what the land is worth and the land behind it. But yeah, I agree. No action to that.
So Commissioner, are you talking about having a community meeting, say at the park, or are you talking about having a workshop with all of us?
Community meeting.
Okay.
Which may then lead to a workshop.
Right.
On this particular one.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I would be in favor of the community meeting. I find that when we go to them, we learn a lot. And let's sit down and listen of how we can maybe do the deal, or maybe that's just not the right site.
I'm in favor of community meeting and a workshop.
So is that a motion?
So I move that staff move forward with setting up a community meeting, and also.
We'll hear from the applicant first.
Well, he's off.
Oh.
I just had a quick, for your community meeting, November 8th would be, sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help out with that. So on the community meeting, I think that's a great idea. November 8th, we actually have our community day, which is open to the whole community. It's a fantastic opportunity to kind of bring the community together, and we'd be happy to host it inside our indoor facility right there as well, if that'd work for y'all. The ideal time would be like 5 p.m. on November 8th for that. Just wanted to.
Okay, so we'll leave that with the city management. We have to look at the city calendar as well.
Yeah, of course.
So the motion is to
Move forward with the community meeting with SAS and the Hill community, and follow it up by a workshop if needed after that. with city commissioners.
Sounds good. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 12E is the discussion of potential property acquisitions at 704 East 15th Street and 1100 Fountain Avenue. The objective of this item is to review and discuss the potential acquisition of the properties located at 704 East 15th Street and 1100 Fountain Avenue, including their appraised value, funding implications, and next steps. First, the one on the screen is 704 East 15th Street. This is a commercialized lot located at the southeast corner of East 15th Street, or US Highway 98 and MLK Junior Boulevard, also known as Highway 77, inside our city limits. It appraised at $250,000 as of September 9th, 2025, but the staff has had conversations with Majors Realty, and they're asking $175,000 for the purchase of this property. This is conveniently located, as you notice on your screen, at the northwest corner of the MLK complex or campus property, and staff does see value in purchasing this, and the Downtown North CRA could provide the funding for that if the board does desire to engage with the seller. And the second item, second parcel, is at 1100 Fountain Avenue. This property is a public institutional zone lot located in the St. Andrews community of Panama City. It is the former Girls Inc. Building. It's about 200 feet on West 11th Street and 170 on Fountain Avenue, about 34,000 square foot. The land is unimproved, but was previously improved with a building, again, housing Girls Inc. Based on market data and analysis, the property was valued at $140,000 as of September 9th, 2025. There is no funding in the current fiscal year budget for this purchase, and therefore a budget amendment would be required. Staff requests discussion and guidance from the commission on whether to proceed with the acquisitions and under what conditions. Again, the purchase of this particular piece of property at Fountain and 11th would complete that entire block for the Oakland Terrace rec center and playground. As you all know, parking is a bit of a challenge there, and so this southwest corner of that parcel could be used to add some parking and potentially make the current angled parking, which is often not very safe, some type of safer drop-off zone. So staff feels that the purchase of these two properties would be in the long-term strategic best interest of the city and provides it for your consideration and discussion. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, start.
So I'd like to suggest that we take them separately because of the differences in their considerations. So with that, I would like to move that we purchase the 705 East 15th Street, given that there's already a funding mechanism in place and it's being offered, the asking price is considerably less than the market value.
So I would just say that I would indicate probably wise, Commissioner Lucas, just to support the purchase of it, but then direct us to take it to the CRA, because the CRA board need to approve the expending of that money. But I think an overall consensus to purchase it would be good.
What he said, that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Not regarding MLK and 15th. Mr. Zimmerman has stuff on Fountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Actually, I don't have anything on Fountain, but I did want to just mention that the Realtor did confirm this morning that the owners would accept $175,000 on the corner of MLK and 15th.
Okay, so we need a separate motion for Fountain?
Yeah, well, how do you pay for it?
Well, go ahead.
I'll motion to approve. However, we need to discuss funding.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion.
I got one. Go ahead.
So I have a meeting with the Realtor representing this particular property this week. I'd like to see if we could get the board to authorize staff to negotiate with them I know Girls Inc. needs a home, and, Oakland Terrace Park does have some room for them to potentially operate and see what type of agreement we could work out with them for reduced acquisition price and maybe a longer-term lease. So following Mayor Branch's comments earlier, I'd like to get Oakland Terrace Park at least a square footage that they would like to lease evaluated and see what what type of long-term agreement we could do. I do think because they're contracted with the current real estate agent, we may be on the hook to pay maybe a realtor's commission based on the value. But I'd like to see how we could potentially negotiate an agreement where they could operate long-term, provide them a home. I think that's what their goal is with the sale or proceeds of this property, and be able to get them to potentially fundraise to a longer-term home than Oakland Terrace, if that's agreeable to the board.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Just authorization for staff to negotiate.
Yeah, but when do you, I think you said you're meeting with.
It's tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll motion to approve staff to negotiate.
With a motion on the table.
Yeah,
I'll retract my motion.
Okay.
And I'll amend my motion to be authorize staff to negotiate with Girls Inc. For property acquisition in exchange for lease space.
Second, have a second?
I'll second that. However, I'd like to also add, if that didn't work out, we can package some dirt together. We have a lot of land. Then we can sell off as a package, and then we pay for that and be a net neutral acquisition.
I got 2 lots on Beck I want to sell.
See, we're already starting the negotiation, folks. That's how it works.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I just want to make, inherent in that motion, I think, is the desire to purchase this for the strategic long-term benefit of the city.
Or secure the rights to use it.
What, one more time, sir?
Secure the rights to use it. We don't
Okay.
necessarily have to purchase it.
Yep, okay.
As part of the negotiation.
No, I think he's talking about the lease is for the building that we own, right?
Yes, so I think what Commissioner Granger's saying is maybe we come to an agreement where Girls Inc. holds on to that property, and then we secure the rights to use it. I would just caution that because the plan for this would be to improve parking in that area and turn that angle-in parking on 11th Street into more of a drop-off area and make this more parking capacity for the park as a whole. So to do permanent improvements on leased property, just.
We want to own it.
We don't have the money in the budget for this, but we could potentially lease it from them for 5 years and then work on next year's budget to include money for the purchase. So it could be structured in such a way that we could lease it and purchase it from them in the future. That's all I'm saying. I want you to have the flexibility for all the things to be on the table.
Yeah, and I think I was asking for that and just authority to negotiate.
Yeah. So that's where I'm getting at, is we don't necessarily have to purchase it in this budget year.
Do we need clarification on the motion at this point?
From my perspective, I believe the commissioners have authorized staff to negotiate with a variety of ideas, but inherent is that to bring back the results of the negotiation to the commission for subsequent approval.
Yeah. Yep. So we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 12F is consideration to approve the special event permit for the 2025 Millville Children's Christmas Parade on December 5th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. In historic Millville, beginning at the Waterfront Park, sponsored by Fran King. This will require road closures on East 3rd Street from Maple Avenue to North Church Avenue, on North Church Avenue from East 3rd Street to East 2nd Court, and on East 2nd Court from North Church Avenue to North Gray Avenue. As background information for the Commission's consideration, encloses the application for the Millville Christmas Parade scheduled for Friday, December 5th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. along the Millville Parade route. See Exhibit A in your application packet for the site map. This event will feature the Children's Parade in Millville. The estimated cost for the special event fees is $525, which includes a $25 application fee and a $500 security deposit. Police presence will be required due to the numerous road closures and heavy traffic, with 28 officers assigned from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. The estimated cost for the police department is $5,320.00, covering 112 man-hours. The Bay District School Board will provide transportation for students to attend and view the parade. Ms. Fran King is requesting a waiver of all of these fees. Additionally, I'll just add that another road closure was requested after this, and police said that they could absorb that in the current fee structure. Staff seeks direction from the City Commission for the fee waiver request for the Millville Children Christmas Parade. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, do I have a motion?
Second.
What are we moving on here? They're seeking direction.
Waiving the fee.
Yep.
And where are we paying, where are we?
It'll just be out of the operations fund for PCR.
And Commissioner, the PCR department can absorb the cost as well.
So we have a motion?
One second.
Any discussion?
No, I'd just like to communicate support. I mean, parades are very difficult to make monetarily work. I mean, it's not like they're a profit-making endeavor, but they're attended by a lot of people. And so as long as the school board's willing to go through the expense of busing kids for this parade, I think it's a great partnership for us to continue.
Yeah, also just for awareness, our plan is to probably close Snug Harbor and utilize that for bus parking just that morning, just again, situational awareness.
I don't know, have you guys gotten to do this yet? Has anybody gotten to do this parade?
Well,
No.
not as a commissioner.
It's the best parade ever.
Really?
Parade, yeah.
Really?
The mayor and I will both be in bucket trucks throwing candy.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
the,
ready.
I mean, nothing
You
will
can
put a
drive the
smile on
bucket
your
truck.
face
No.
like seeing a couple thousand kids.
So when Lee Coalition had the after-school program, we would take our after-school kids to participate. And they absolutely, even the toughest kids, loved it because of the reaction from the kids with getting candy. It's just a feel-good, and
That's awesome.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
12G.
Item 12G is approval of Amendment 1 to the State Revolving Fund, or SRF, Drinking Water Loan Agreement DW0302G1 to extend the repayment schedule and to accept additional financing in the amount of $21,653,303 with a principal forgiveness amount of $5,413,326. As background information, the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection, or DEP, has agreed to allow the city to extend the date of the first payment for the SRF loan to September 15th of 2027 from the original date of May 15th, 2026. The completion of construction date was also extended to now become March 15th of 2027 from the original date of November 15th, 2025. The city is also entitled to an additional financing amount of $21,653,303 at 0% interest, with a 25% principal forgiveness amount of $5,413,326. These loans are used by the city to pay for potable water infrastructure repair and construction for various SRF-approved city projects and can be accepted without additional rate increases, primarily due to SRF's loan deadline extension. A little background information, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. In September of 2022, the City Commission approved a 5-year rate plan that included adjustment to water and wastewater monthly user rates by 9% per year beginning October 1 of 2022 and each subsequent October 1st thereafter through fiscal year 2027. When considering the additional $21.6 million loan, our consultants at Ruff Tellis recommended that the City Commission continue to implement the 9% water and wastewater rate increases already approved through fiscal year 2027 as recommended in the 2022 rate study. Furthermore, the City Commission should consider implementing additional rate increases of not less than 6.5% per year for fiscal years 2028 through 2030. This will be necessary to stabilize and rebuild the system's financial position and meet funding requirements. As we spoke through each of this with y'all, some of the questions were, very rightly so, what would we do with some of this additional $21.6 million? And we would use it to build or to construct these projects that have already been engineered with design plans on the shelf ready to go, where we did not have enough funding for the construction. So I will note that because of the last 6 months or so, a lot of the construction projects have started coming in less than some of the engineering estimates because costs have come down. And because of that, we were able to pull area D21 over in St. Andrews near the Bolorama in Ward 4 and redo that lift station and 4 or 5 roads, 1 block off of 15th Street. Additionally, we were able to bring in area H over in the Forest Park area of Ward 3 into the first round of SRF projects. And D21 is already under construction, and we expect to go out to bid very soon on area H. Additional projects that we would bring into with this $21.6 million is repairing the water line underneath the Tarpon Dock Drawbridge in order to improve the capacity of that water and pressure into the cove and round downtown. We've got some project areas in the north part of the cove, kind of south of Maslina Bayou. Again, these are already designed on the shelf, ready to go. We just need construction money for them. Area QR 1, 2, and 3. These are areas over in the Glenwood community, kind of in and around Ascension Sacred Heart Hospital. As a side note, we actually have a potential congressional funding for area QR1, but we're just waiting to see how that process plays out with the federal government. But that would potentially take $2 million off of the necessary project for the city. And then we also have area A, 11, 12, and 13, which are over in kind of St. Andrews, Drummond Park area, north of 98. And again, these areas are, again, already designed, paid for from a design standpoint, and they are ready to go on the shelf. So staff recommendation through the Public Works Director and the City Manager's Office is that the City Commission approve Amendment 1 and authorize the mayor to sign the amendment and any other necessary documents for the revisions to the SRF loan. Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion to second.
Any discussion?
I do want to give staff the opportunity to go back to SRF and also asking for a larger forgiveness percentage. This is something that's been patterned by a few, and there is some availability to get additional forgiveness on these funding. And, you know, the purpose of that would be so that we can actually complete the projects that we've already started. So there's still some significant number of projects and I believe I think this will finish up everything that's in Ward 1, if I recall. There's still some left in St. Andrews and in Glenwood that need to be addressed that's eligible for this funding.
What kind of percentage increase on a relief from 25?
Statutorily, 50%.
Oh, okay, wow.
So, which would give us enough money to be able to finish our projects, and which would be very significant.
That motion? Commissioner Street, may I ask that you include all outstanding, or all SRF loans, not just this one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need to amend your motion?
Will you amend your motion?
I'll amend my motion to say what he said.
What I understand, and Commissioner Street did talk to us about this, is that the motion, if it passes, is to approve as presented. This is money that's from Hurricane Michael that was still available, and that's why it's come to the city. And this particular loan is where the city is getting the benefit of $82 million. 25% of that is forgiven. Principal payments don't start until the earliest of, I think it's 2028. And then there is the forgiveness of 25%. After that, so the motion is to approve this, but then the second step would be to then pursue additional forgiveness under the existing rules, look at what needs to be presented and pursue that as well.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, item number 12H is the proposed Sixth Amendment and restated professional services agreement between the City of Panama City and the Burke Blue Law Firm. Mr. Zimmerman?
Thank you. If there are any questions, of course, I'm here to respond to that, but this really comes out of the virtual workshop meeting that we had, I think, the first part of August, and there was an interest in going back to a lump sum fee for the city attorney services. After Hurricane Michael, because of the work that was involved by spending over $400 million in the numerous construction contracts and FEMA regulations, the city commission provided us to bill hourly for that work. Now that we're getting to the tail end of the recovery, there's a request, and it is and it's acceptable, of course, with Burke Blue to go to a lump sum fee. The idea is that if you had an in-house legal department or city attorney office, there would be an amount of money that you would spend, but then from time to time, there would be a need for additional specialty attorney services. So this is patterned after a $850,000 lump sum fee. There are some things that would, and those are covered services. There are some things that are non-covered services, such as bond issues or loans. We don't know what those would be this year. Special projects that are determined by the city commission. I'll talk about them in a minute. Also, the litigation, litigation that is, you just can't predict that, and that would be billed on the hourly rates that are proposed. And then the end of the Hurricane Michael services that continue to go down and that are going down even further this year. The special projects, the three that I could think of would be the CMP, the Downtown Marina, public-private partnership negotiations, the Charter Review Committee, it's just it's short in duration, and also the Parks Committee. Those are just different things that came up that you really couldn't predict or you wouldn't want to put into a lump sum fee. So the request is to answer any questions you may have. And of course, we would appreciate the board approve, the commission approve the professional services agreement. There was a request to restate it, and so it is amended but restated in its entirety. And the reason to keep an amendment is to provide continuity of service. In 2018, Burke Blue agreed to a variety of what we called FEMA criteria, where we agreed to certain things. That continues on because that enables certain legal fees to be reimbursed through the FEMA grant. And so that's one reason why we provided an amendment of the existing contract. It is yearly, subject to renewal, and also it can be terminated without cause at any time with 60 days notice. So that in the discounted hourly rates, there had not been an increase in the rates since 2013, and so we are proposing a $15 an hour increase across the board to the hourly rates.
A motion we approve.
Second.
Quickly with the discussion, we're not approving this $90,000 CRA supplement on this vote, are we? That would be a CRA vote, correct?
It's actually, thank you for asking that. It's both. Because the city, we're under contract to the city, and then we're providing that service, but funding would come from the CRA, and that is a lump sum fee as well. And so there is a spot on the contract for both the city and the CRA to approve that. So thank you, Mayor, for pointing that out.
So does that mean that the CRA, meaning we have to approve this as well?
Just the supplement,
Okay.
just the $90,000 supplement.
So I already asked Nevin this question, but I'd like to restate it for the general public. So we are preparing to do evaluations. Are you still an at-will employee of the city based upon any evaluation criteria?
Yes, and and the firm can be terminated without cause under the terms of this contract.
So even though it's a yearly contract, it's not subject to that. Not that that's what we're, but we are doing evaluation, so it's very strange to approve someone's contract and then go and do an evaluation the next thing. So that was why I wanted that just stated. So-
Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, item 12I, and just a reminder before we get to adjournment, we have a Panama City Community Fund Board of Directors meeting immediately following the commission meeting, so don't go anywhere. So item 12A is update on a discussion of renaming Government Street in downtown Panama City. Just a little bit of history. Sometime in 2008, 2009, the county library was relocated right here to our south, where we are today. And then flash forward to the early part of 2018, staff moved out of the city hall over to 80 Harris as the project at 5th and Harrison was coming in for closure. And then unfortunately with Hurricane Michael, the federal courthouse was destroyed. About a year ago, maybe the very early part of this calendar year, but I believe it was the end of last calendar year, I began conversations with former Commissioner Halligus about the need to rename Government Street because there's no government facilities on that stretch anymore. And her and I talked about it some. He came up with some ideas, and then she suggested that we punt to the DIB. So we did that. They started the process, had a few ideas, and then when the new commission came on, the DIB said, no, we'd rather just let, the Commissioner of Ward 1 do it. I've had some conversations with Commissioner Hughes about punting it. We have received request recently from the Bay County Republican Party suggesting a name, the Bay County Historical Society suggesting a name, and again, the DIB suggested some names as well. But my recommendation, again, in communicating with Commissioner Hughes, and I've shared this with each of y'all and senior staff, is that given just all the construction that's going on down there now, plus the ongoing negotiation with City Marina Partners, my recommendation is we just punt for now. We leave it as Government Street, and we'll revisit it kind of in the beginning of calendar year 2027, once a lot of the construction projects in the southernmost part of downtown are concluded, and we have a lot more direction and movement on the downtown marina. So that would be my recommendation.
Do we have a motion?
Second. Oh. No, we need a motion.
Do we need a motion?
I was just trying to get, so I can talk.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
Any discussion?
And yes, I concur with city manager because while there's a lot of good names, a lot of good ideas, the vibe's changing, things are, downtown. Let's get a little bit farther along, but at the same time, I've received more emails off of that one request, name change, so far as new guy, than I have anything else. But I believe if we're going to do anybody's name in and around, in Panama City, it should be associated with historical value, particularly down in that area. So I would concur that we leave that alone, and we'll get the public gen back up here in the future.
Yep. And I'll just note, I did share what I was going to recommend today with all three of those groups, the DIB, the Bay County Republican Party, and the Bay County Historical Society, and they all were good with that.
Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Lucas?
Yes.
Commissioner Granger?
Yes.
Commissioner Street?
Yes.
Mayor Branch?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Hand me the gavel.
Oh, you want the gavel?
We can